Start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and lift.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about what to do when your motorcycle runs completely out of control. And if you're new to this channel, then please like and subscribe, and if you haven't seen my other videos, then please take a look. But let's get into this out of control motorcycle and see exactly what happened. Stay tuned to the end because you won't believe it. But it all began like any other ride until I ended up on my local motorway. Now, as a rule of thumb, I don't tend to use motorways. I don't particularly like them. I find them quite boring, but hey ho, it was a means to get from A to B quickly. And so this is just some video footage of me riding on a dual carriageway. There's not many motorways, thankfully, in my area. And this video footage will just help to illustrate what happened on the day, because on that particular day I didn't have a camera on board, but I'm using this footage to replicate what did actually occur. So picture the scene: a normal traffic flow on a normal UK motorway, and to remind ourselves, the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. The bike I was riding at the time was a BMW K1200S, which was a sports touring motorcycle designed completely for this environment. So what could possibly go wrong? Here I am. Due to the traffic speed ahead, I realised that I was catching up on some vehicles. So I moved to the outside lane for ease of progress, and at the time I had been travelling at around about 65 miles an hour and opened the throttle to increase my speed to 70 as I changed lanes. Once in the outside lane, I throttled back to a lesser demand position on the throttle, and that is when it all went wrong.
Hey, Houston, we've had a problem here. Can say again, please? Houston, we've had a problem.
I could hear the engine note continuing to increase in RPM. And having checked ahead for safety, I took my eyes off the motorway and glanced down, and right enough, the RPM was increasing. And I tried to close the throttle to reduce the RPM, but nothing happened. There was no response at all. That's when I became aware that my bike is now doing 80 miles an hour and accelerating. I dared not to open the throttle in case it made the matters worse, so I used the brakes. And that had an effect, but as soon as I released the brakes, the speed shot back up to where it was and continued. Once again, we jump into survival instincts: fight, flight, or freeze. And if you haven't seen my other videos about these subjects, then please have a look, because they all tie into each other. And it was at this time I realised I'm now merely a passenger on this ballistic motorcycle with 165 brake horsepower to boot. I glanced at the speed: 90 miles an hour. Checked ahead, glanced down again: 95. The bike wasn't slowing. 100 miles an hour. Checked ahead on the motorway once more, looked down again. 110 was now showing on the speedometer, and due to the build-up of traffic ahead, I was running out of room. I really needed a safe landing strip for me to crash safely upon. The shit, as they say, has now finally hit the fan, and it's time for me to plan my stage exit left. So what are my options, Houston? So Houston came up with 3 options. Option 1 was to pull in the clutch. If I did so, I would blow up the engine and cause chaos on the motorway for everyone approaching me at high speed from behind. So option 2 was put on the table, and that's to pull in the clutch and kill the engine so it doesn't blow up. But if I did that with this particular motorcycle, the K1200S with servo assisted brakes, it would mean no braking efficiency with no engine. So option 3 came on the table: pull in the clutch, kill the engine, and coast until you achieve re-entry. Try not to hit any vehicles as you do so. And if you've ever felt like you were about to be a human ball in a pinball game, then this was it. So Houston informed me that we had a green for go on option 3 to coast, and all that was left now was to conduct the pre-landing checks before engaging the operation.
Max.
Go.
Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps to cabin leak check.
Copy that. ACO.
Go and ISS is go.
DPS. Go. Inco. Go. PDRS. Go. Surgeon. Go. Booster. Go. Station flight. Shuttle flight on my loop. ISS is go. Copy that. We have a go from you guys. Cal weather. Flight on flight loop.
Perform NTS helium reconfig.
So it's time for the challenge to begin. And it's a strange sensation at 110 miles per hour with no engine on a live motorway with vehicles behind not having any idea what you're about to attempt. Would I break up on re-entry? Or would I bounce off the surface of the planet? Or would I be knocked into oblivion by a speeding car from behind? Who knows? But there's no time to dally. Let's get the job done. And needless to say, my eyes were acting like a rear gunner on a British bomber, waiting to gun down any potential threat from behind. But somehow, I made it to the hard shoulder, which as usual was full of debris. But even with limited brakes, I finally managed to stop the motorcycle. The hard shoulder, I learnt, is no place for motorcyclists, let alone motorcyclists. And this speeding issue was caused by sticking throttle bodies, which is common for the K-Series engine. All's well that ends well. And the bottom line here is we never really are sure what can happen and when. But you must be prepared for every eventuality. And I think it's fair to say that's one more life ticked off my cat's lives left record. And if I could give any advice to any rider at this point, it would be, when all goes wrong or appears to be going wrong, don't panic, but fight. Use every ounce of knowledge you have to save the day, and who knows, with a good wind willing and a ray of sunshine upon you, then you just might win. So, I hope you've liked this video, and if so, please like and subscribe, and remember to ride safe, think safe, and if all does go wrong, don't panic, fight for your survival. So take care, and I'll see you soon.